State hasn't played any of those 4 teams, so they've still got their work to do, and it's anybody's race.
Well, you know, it's a wacky whack, like you said, and of course this Saturday night, boy, is an important game. And if we're going to stay in the whack race, then we've certainly got to win Saturday night out at San Diego, and that's a tough place to go and play.
I know their quarterback is back after having an injury.
Todd Santos, one of the best in the nation, and he will be, but he's only a junior, you know. But he did break his hand, and of course he is back after only being out 1 ball game.
Well, they'll throw everything they have at you, and they'll be ready for you.
Well, you know, I've said all along that San Diego, I think, has as talented athletes as anybody. Denny Stoltz and his staff have just done a great job bringing them together. They lost some of their wide receivers. Of course, Santos is back and Plum is back, but Hardy, they're running back, and they seem to have a little more balance in their offense, and he gained 157 yards Saturday night down at UTEP. And Gilmore's a fine runner for them, and, you know, they've been able to get a couple guys out of junior college that has helped Santos an awful lot. So their defense plays extremely hard, and they've got some talented young men that can really run. And I think, you know, each year they've played us pretty doggone tough defensively.
Coach, we're out of time, but coming up next, the Broncos and the New York Jets.
Hey, it ought to be a great one, I guarantee you. I want to wish Dan and his staff and the Broncos the best of luck. They're off to a great start, and boy, what great role models they are for our young men. And we're so proud of them and just wish them the very best of luck tonight in New York.
All right, Coach, good luck to the Falcons next Saturday night in San Diego State, and we'll be back next Monday night with all the highlights. So for the coach, good night, everybody.
Air Force. TV 13, the leader in sports television, presents Air Force Football 1986 with head coach Fisher DeBerry. Sponsored by the First National Bank, McDonald's, USAA Insurance, and True Value Hardware. Now your host, John Eves.
And good evening, everybody. Final from Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego, California, Saturday night. Air Force 22 and San Diego State University 10. Coach, at the end of last week's show, you told me the Falcons would bounce back. They certainly did.
Well, they really did, John. I was so doggone proud of them, I didn't know what to do. And, you know, of course, we're playing the #1 team in the conference, and, you know, if you're going to repeat as conference champions, you got to beat the guys out in front. And, you know, to go in their backyard against a very talented team. And, you know, that's a good San Diego team. And the thing that concerned me was the maturity of their football team. They've got about 38 seniors on that team, John.
I watched them before the warm-up there, and they were really ready to play, no doubt about it.
Oh, there's no question about it. And Denny and his staff have done an outstanding job out there changing the attitude and the image. And, you know, I think they thought we were, you know, at prime time for coming off the Notre Dame game. But you can never put those Falcons down, I guarantee you. We had a great week's practice, and our young men realized, you know, what was at stake and realized that we only got 7 games this year in the conference, and they realized how important each game is. And, you know, I can't give our defensive coaches, our offensive coaches, our kicking team coaches just enough credit for the tremendous job that they did in preparing our football team, you know, to go out to San Diego and whip a good San Diego Aztec football team.
All right, Coach, we've got all kinds of highlights. We'll be back with those right after this.
Yeah, it's been a doggone big game. We started off with 5 conference games, and then, you know, having Navy and then Notre Dame, and then right back into the conference. But, boy, what a beautiful stadium Jack Murphy Stadium is to play in, and what a beautiful night for football. And, you know, it was an exciting time.
Yeah, there we are in San Diego, and like I said, they came prepared to play. They were going to put the ball up right away on you. Is that pretty much what you expected?
Well, you know, they've done a good job this year of balancing their offense, and I thought, you know, in this game, but yeah, I think they thought that, you know, they could throw the ball very effectively against us, and that seemed to be their game plan. We won the toss, elected to defer our option to the second half, and of course that's Nate Cunningham making a fine tackle for us down there. We had good kickoff coverage, but yes, they come right out of the chute, you know, throwing the football, and that's a fine release there by Santos to Moore, their wide receiver. But, you know, he's a great play. But, boy, this was a big play here by Steve Spiewak. And that was a 3rd down play, and, of course, now they've got to go for the field goal. They had a great drive, John, you know, about 65 yards there. And but Ray Hill misses the field goal, and, of course, now we take the ball. And, you know, this is a fine misdirection play. about a 25-yard gainer here by Mark Manafo, and we take that ball now and drive 80 yards.
Watch this great catch by Tyrone Jeffcoat.
Oh, boy, third down play, just a clutch play. You know, you got to make those kind of plays if you're going to be champions. And, you know, Tyrone makes these kind of plays in practice all the time, and then this was just a beautiful drive, and took us 80 yards, and Pat puts it in the end zone for us, and, you know, we're up in the ball game.
There it is, 7-0 in the first quarter, and things are looking pretty good. But Todd Santos, a real talented quarterback.
Well, the thing about it is, you know, when they throw the ball as well as they do, and when they've got receivers out of the backfield like Gilmore and Hardy, you never can rest. This is a fine run here by Gilmore, and a great individual play by Chad right there, and that stops their drive. And we get the ball, and we're moving the football, and doggone it, that's just a great effort by Albert Booker right there, and Albert loses the handle on the ball, and we give them some new life there at midfield.
Well, Hardy is another one of those typical whack scat backs, real quick. Watch his burst of speed here.
Oh, he gained 1,150 yards last year, and of course he's such a dangerous young man catching that football out of the backfield. But our defense, you know, they let him move the football a little bit, but then they got a little bit stiff when they got down toward the end zone there, and there Ray Hill is putting in, and that was a real questionable.
Yeah, I was standing down there. I wasn't quite sure it was good, but here we go, and another turnover.
Well, you know, we take the ball, and again, we know what they're doing. Jimmy's doing the right thing of getting us into the right play, and thought he did an excellent job on that. But Mark, again, just loses concentration on the ball right there, and we give him the ball in very, very good field position right there, and they come out throwing again and hit more. And in this ball game, John, they went more to the wide receivers than they have in the previous ball game. This is a great catch by Moore, but I'm not so really sure that he got in the end zone right there.
It was real close, no doubt about it, but they've taken the lead from you right here, 10-7.
Well, you know, we gave them that ball, and they capitalized on that. Of course, they took it down and scored. But, you know, we come right back with the ball with a fine return here by Tommy and, no, by Albert Booker. You know, this is Tommy right here. I'm sorry. And we do a fine job of getting that ball back up in good field position. And, you know, if it wasn't for a couple of penalties I think we had Saturday night, John, we might be the leading kickoff return team in the country. We were fourth last week going into the game.
That one was good for 44 yards, but you did have a holding penalty. But Mark Manafo gets another good carry here.
Oh, Mark had a fine night rushing that football, almost 80 yards in the ball game. And you know, we went into the game, John, thinking that we had to keep San Diego's offense on the bench, and that was our whole game plan. Thought Jimmy had his best game. Jimmy did a great job once we realized the defensive schemes they were using of getting us into the right play, but he ran more assertive Saturday night than he has at any time yet, with a lot more confidence. And, of course, now we're getting the ball down there in good field position. Chris puts us back up. And, John, I can't say enough about the job Chris Blasey is doing and that Mike did earlier in the season. We've only missed 2 field goals this year.
Big defensive play there again by Chad Henning, sacking him for a loss of 11. You got the ball back, and Jimmy keeps it going.
Jimmy keeps it going, and look at the people missed him. That's a pretty good hit right there. But Jimmy was able to take some good hits in the ball game. Again, you know, taking the ball now, you know, untouched into the end zone, and he took that ball, read it extremely well, and boy, Mark Manafo did a great job blocking their linebacker right there. And then, of course, Jeffcoat came in and really did a good job of sealing off the free safety and enabled
Jimmy to score.
Jimmy to get in there.
Well, here goes Santos. A nice play by Mike Tolliver.
Boy, what a great night Michael had. And he made 3 plays in the ball game exactly like that and saved us from big, big plays. And Michael is playing a lot more confident now and just doing a real good job. And this is the last play of the first half. And to be honest, that young man was trying to advance the ball, and the officials realized this. And, of course, the penalty, you know, was called on the play.
All right, it's halftime. You're up 17-10. I thought you must have made some adjustments, especially on defense, because your rush really improved in the second half.
Well, it really did. But, you know, John, I really felt like that our conditioning really, you know, it sort of really played a dominant role in the game. And I told the young men that at the first of the week, that I felt like we would certainly be a better conditioned football team coming down out of the mountains and going down to sea level to play. We were, you know, felt like we could play all night long, and I thought that was the most evident thing. But, you know, we changed a few little things, put some twist in there. Certainly our defensive front did a great job all night long putting pressure on Santos, particularly the second half.
All right, they kick off to you, and you've been telling me you're going to break one yet this year, and you almost do again here, Coach.
Oh, we get the ball back up in a great field position, and right there, David Lackey lost him and then tried to pick up the block again and slid down, and the official just caught the tail end of the play right there. And, of course, now we're back in our own backyard, and this is a fine play on Eston's part, and of course he's a preseason all-conference player, and our players told us after the game what a strong young man he was. But, you know, we have to give up the ball midfield. Now, this is them hitting Awalt, who is, we think, one of the premier tight ends in the country, and at least the pros think that way also.
Big play here.
Big play. In the previous play before that, 2 plays before that, Kevin Martin had gotten a little hurt and bruised the thigh muscle, and we put Trent Pickering in there, and boy, Trent came through, and that was a big play in the ball game. And, of course, got us down in real good field position. Jimmy's keeping the ball now. We've got to carry that ball with a little more protection right there. But certainly he did a great job keeping the ball. But we were just a little disappointed here that we didn't get the ball in the end zone. But certainly Chris comes through again with another 3-pointer for us.
20-10 in favor of the Air Force, but with a guy like Santos, they're never out of the ball game.
They're never out of the ball game, and of course, evident right here again, going to Blanchard, the wide receiver. Michael comes up and makes a big play. But you notice they always come up with 1 yard just on the other side of that stick. But now again, a beautiful play there by Johnny Steed, and Johnny had 3 sacks in the ball game, John, and probably played his best game of the year.
I think this guy played his best game of the year, Michael Tolliver. Look at that.
Another great play, and a game-saving touchdown right there, no question. And like I say, Michael's playing with a lot more confidence. And look at the pressure right here now. And again, this was a fine play with him. Johnny, it was a 30-31 situation, but yet they ran an outstanding play, a running screen play out there, and, you know, they're a very capable football team. Great pressure there by Ty Hankermer and by